there, I'm Adeline and it is so nice to meet you. Welcome to the 56th Celebrity Synastry chart reading where we will be covering Taylor Russell and Timothee Chalamet. For those new and returning, I take notes on a Synastry chart looking at the personal planet signs aspects and overlays if we have times. I also add my extra insights and interpretations along the way. Feel free to leave your own in the comments below. Before we start the reading, give this video a like and subscribe for more Celebrity Synastry chart readings. Let's get into it. Starting off with the Sun, we have Taylor's Sun in Cancer and Timothy's Sun in Capricorn. These are sister polarity signs. They are opposites and it's a secure relationship and they appreciate their differences. Taylor's Sun overlaid in Timothy's 11th house. There's a friendly atmosphere and they accept their differences. We literally just saw. They are non-judgmental of each other and their relationship begins as friends. Taylor sees Timothy as someone she can spend time with. Timothy's Sun overlaid in Taylor's 6th house. They are productive together. Timothy is submissive. Work is a strong theme here, and there's a boss-assisted relationship. Interesting. I would have assumed Timothy would not be the submissive one purely because he is a lot more popular. He's pretty mainstream now. So we'll see more, I guess. Taylor's Sun trine Timothy's Moon. There's honest communication and Taylor relies on Timothy's support. Timothy relies on Taylor's wisdom. It's a naturally cooperative relationship, again, probably related to the work thing. Timothy tends to be dependent on Taylor and they both feel they can rely on each other. Okay. Taylor's Sun opposite Timothy's Mercury. They have a great intellectual relationship and misunderstandings occur. It's not good long term. Taylor finds Timothy too analytical and Timothy is understanding of Taylor, but Timothy may feel misunderstood. Okay. I mean, from what we are seeing so far, like Taylor does seem to hold a tad bit more power, you know, with the whole thing, Timothy potentially being more submissive, but also Timothy seems to be a bit more dependent on Taylor and he doesn't feel very misunderstood, so not great for Timothy. They communicate well besides differing views. I have to assume it's because they are quite honest with each other. Taylor may feel threatened and insignificant, potentially insignificant because of how big Timothy has become. Timothy sees Taylor as self-centered and Taylor sees Timothy as too rational. They need to have a level of emotional detachment for marriage. Taylor's Sun opposite Timothy's Mars. Sparks fly and Timothy is defensive. They both assert their independence and they compete with each other. They get annoyed with each other. Taylor's Sun trine Timothy's Saturn. They work well together and it's a sensible relationship, so there does seem to be quite a practical work theme element to this relationship. Timothy is loyal to Taylor and Timothy guides Taylor with his wisdom. I believe we do see again. Taylor is drawn to Timothy's maturity. This could be in age. I'm not sure how old they are, what their age difference is exactly, but Timothy definitely has the upper hand in terms of career. He definitely would know a lot more about the whole industry, I imagine, compared to Taylor. They both desire to build a lasting relationship, and Taylor is encouraging and supportive of Timothy. Timothy is attracted to Taylor's will and personality. Wealth can be accumulated through marriage. Interesting how we're seeing a couple marriage elements already. Although the previous one wasn't the best, so, you know, challenges are dealt with perseverance. Taylor's Sun opposite Timothy's Uranus. Separation occurs and it's an exciting relationship. The relationship starts quickly. I have to assume potentially they were just thrown into a project together. How else would they have met anyway? Taylor finds Timothy to be insensitive. Taylor feels burdened and Timothy will likely feel trapped by Taylor over time. Okay. I'm interested to see where this is going. Taylor feeling burdened, I assume this would just purely be because, you know, Timothy relies on her support and everything. Taylor's Sun opposite Timothy's Neptune. Misunderstandings occur and Taylor has a lack of trust. Delusion and deception occur and Timothy promises more than fulfills. Okay. Taylor believes Timothy is her soulmate. Oh no. That's probably why, if she is indicating that in any way to Timothy, I wouldn't be surprised if that is why he's feeling trapped by her over time. They both need to be clear with each other. I feel like this will be related in terms of like their intentions for the relationship or where they see themselves in this relationship, because it seems like they do have that honest communication, but intention wise, I feel like there needs to be more clarity for sure. Taylor's Sun, Trine Timothy's Pluto. It's transformative and a productive relationship, we're seeing again. They are fascinated with each other and they both want to get to know each other deeply. Timothy inspires Taylor to dramatically transform herself. Timothy's Sun opposite Taylor's Mercury, so this is a repeated aspect, just inverted. So everything from before is further emphasized, but also Timothy finds Taylor too analytical, and Taylor is understanding of Timothy. Taylor may feel misunderstood, and Timothy may feel threatened and insignificant. I wonder where. Taylor sees Timothy as self-centered, and Timothy sees Taylor as too rational. Timothy's Sun, Trine Taylor's Venus. There's a mutual attraction and they both value each other. They do seem to value each other, definitely for like in terms of support and all of that. It's a harmonious relationship and they are financially lucky people. Timothy definitely is. They both share common interests and they accept and tolerate each other. Taylor is willing to do anything to please Timothy. I'm kind of worried about her. She seems to be very dedicated to Timothy, but he doesn't seem to be quite reciprocating that. Taylor finds Timothy charming and intriguing, and Timothy feels more loving and beautiful around Taylor. If he is more loving around Taylor, there definitely needs to be more communication and clarity what his intentions are. Definitely on Timothy's end, he needs to make it clear. Timothy's Sun, Sextile Taylor's Jupiter. Timothy energizes Taylor and they are good travel companions. Mutual respect remains after the end and they both want to make the other happy. Taylor boosts Timothy's confidence and Taylor opens up new doors for Timothy. I feel like this would have been the other way around, potentially in different ways. We'll see more hopefully. Taylor frequently gives Timothy the benefit of the doubt. I'm not obsessed with this because I feel like she's a bit too invested in this relationship when it doesn't seem like the intentions are reciprocated on Timothy's end.
Now for the intermission, this video is brought to you by me, my Etsy store, Adeline the Astrologer. If you ever watch this and think, hey, I would like her to read my Synastry chart, well, I will. I do personalized Synastry chart readings on my Etsy store. I do both basic and detailed ones. The basic ones are a bit more simple to understand and really good for those just beginning out in astrology, getting their heads around it, or just as a fun gift idea. The detailed readings are very similar to what I do here, so it's a lot of it just with my insights and interpretation on the chart. So if you're interested in that and everything else, astrology and tarot, readings and gifts, definitely check out my Etsy store for that. I'm always releasing new other things there as well. And you can even just favorite the store just to support me for free. Thank you for listening and let's get back to the reading.
So now it's time for Moon. We have Taylor's Moon in Scorpio and Timothy's Moon in Pisces. They sense what is going on with the other. I'm not surprised. There generally seems to be a very harmonious relationship and a lot of support here. They have a sympathetic bond and they're both very sensitive. Timothy is forgiving of Taylor and Taylor may hurt Timothy. Neither are articulate about their feelings. Oh no, that's probably why there's such a lack of clarity in terms of definitely their intentions and how they feel about each other. Living near water will be a good domestic choice, so if they live together, I'm not sure. That is there. Taylor's Sun overlaid in Timothy's fourth house. It's love-hate and they have conflicting feelings. Definitely the conflicting feelings bit. It's not great. Both feel deeply bonded to each other and they are competitive like siblings. They both feel the need to spend time apart, which I guess it's a good thing with their careers then, because they both would definitely end up spending a lot of time apart. Taylor may feel like a parent to Timothy. Okay, interesting. Timothy's Moon overlaid in Taylor's ninth house. Timothy idolizes Taylor. Okay. Timothy feels Taylor is out of his league. I wonder in what way. It can't be like status wise or anything, can it? There would definitely be something that Taylor has on Timothy because of this, but we also see that Taylor opens up new doors for Timothy. Timothy brings out the best in Taylor, and there's a possible for long distance. What did we just see? Taylor may become emotionally attached to Timothy. I'm not surprised. It sucks, but I'm not surprised. Taylor may become dependent on Timothy, and there's mutual respect, admiration, and affection. I do see that. Both share similar attitudes on politics and religion. Their moons are trined together, so there's a desire to nurture each other, and they are sensitive to each other's needs. Long-term or marriage we see again. They share similar tastes, and they feel safe together. They feel comfortable together and enjoy creating a home together. Family plays an important part in their relationship. This might be an interesting, a very random thing that just came to my head. Does Taylor potentially have connections in the industry through her family or something else that Timothy doesn't have? Possibility of being too accommodating to each other. I feel like this is more so on Taylor's end, honestly. A tendency to avoid hurting each other. I'm not obsessed with this because I feel like this would indicate that they are just reluctant and they have that difficulty talking about their feelings to each other, which I feel like in this relationship they need to. Taylor's moon sextile Timothy's Uranus. It's not a boring relationship and they share common eccentric friends. I mean, they are both I know they are of some kind of similar age in the acting industry. They both are of the, like, sort of newer generation, if that makes sense. They talk about social and political issues. Interesting, so they do seem to share some kind of, values in issues. Mutual friends may bring them together, and Taylor creates a loving environment for Timothy, not surprisingly so. Taylor's moon is sextile Timothy's Neptune. Art is a shared interest, definitely with the whole acting thing. They sense each other's feelings, they understand each other, there's a mystical meeting and a spiritual connection. I think spiritual connection would link to how they share similar attitudes on religion, so there definitely seems to be some connection with whatever that is for them. Taylor's moon conjunct Timothy's Pluto. They work for past relationships together. I have no idea on the timeline on all of these people, but we covered previously Taylor and Harry and Timothy and Kylie we just covered. So I don't know where in the timeline these all line up, but if these two are after those relationships, there it is. There's immense spiritual growth. There seems to be a spiritual connection. Nice. It's not a superficial relationship and they have a strong mental connection. Easy for them to talk about deeper and darker subjects, and Taylor may become needy of Timothy. I feel bad. She seems to be very attached here. Timothy may see Taylor as too sensitive. They subconsciously need each other and they can make great wealth together, we've been seeing. Intense passion keeps them together for a long time. Timothy's moon is sextile Taylor's Uranus, so this is a repeated aspect, just inverted. So everything before is further emphasized, but also Timothy creates a loving environment for Taylor. Timothy's moon trine Taylor's Pluto. There's an intense meeting we keep seeing. They both will need to let go of fake personas, which I feel like makes sense because if they have this very spiritual connection, yeah. They have a strong bond and they both bring truth and change in social and political areas together. The political thing keeps coming up as well. I'm not sure what they've done together, but they definitely have that in common. Involved in organizations together and they can both transform each other. We did see that Taylor definitely transforms here. They can solve problems in their community and they can go through difficulties together. So now it's time for Mercury. We have Taylor's Mercury in Cancer and Timothy's Mercury in Capricorn. Conflict in Timothy's realism and Taylor's lack of it. I want to kind of skew this a bit because normally, Timothy's, more practical, Taylor is not so much. I feel like this would be realism and conflict with that. In terms of Taylor, I guess not seeing the situation realistically, purely because with what we're seeing so far, it doesn't seem like Timothy is reciprocating those strong feelings of Taylor's, and I feel like that is where the conflict would be with Taylor not being realistic or lacking that realism. Taylor finds Timothy snobby and selfish. I feel like we're seeing again, which isn't great. Timothy is frustrated with Taylor's impracticality, and Taylor teaches Timothy how to consider feelings. Taylor's Mercury overlaid in Timothy's 11th house. Taylor is open and communicative with Timothy, not about the things she really should be. Unfortunately, it seems like. Timothy finds Taylor pleasant, and Timothy looks forward to spending time with Taylor. They're both tolerant and patient with each other. I see that. Like, they do seem to like each other. There just seems to be that conflict with where they see this going. Timothy's Mercury overlaid in Taylor's 6th house. Taylor thinks that Timothy is reliable, and Taylor sees Timothy as a stable companion. All of these, like, real, stability, soulmate type things are coming on Taylor's, and oh, I feel bad. Timothy's Mercury conjunct Taylor's Uranus. Taylor challenges Timothy's way of thinking. They are impulsive together and they enjoy experimenting together. They come up with original ideas together and they discover new ways of seeing the world together. I believe we did see that Taylor shows Timothy a new way of life. Timothy truly understands Taylor's originality and they grow intellectually together. It's nice to see that they do seem to grow quite a lot together, like in the mind. They share an interest in unusual topics. I have to assume this would be the whole political religion thing. They casually talk about taboos and they are creative together. They find uncommon solutions to problems. So there definitely seems to be a real social element to this relationship. We were seeing before that they do solve problems in their community and they have that sort of social humanitarian mindset together. Timothy's Mercury conjunct Taylor's Neptune. Spirituality is prioritized, we see again. They have a telepathic-like connection. Timothy helps Taylor turn her dreams into reality. This makes a lot more sense. Habit of telling the other what they want to hear. I don't like this. If this is coming on Taylor's end, dude, come on. Deceptive and exaggerative communication, and they're compassionate towards each other. Timothy finds Taylor confusing. If she is not being clear with her intentions, I also would, be confused. Because I feel like if Taylor is very dedicated to Timothy and takes him seriously, that's not exactly an easy thing to hide. Especially, I feel like a lot of that is shown through actions, and not subconsciously, but you just do some things when you're dedicated to people. So I feel like if she's showing things and saying things that are conflicting, hard to talk about practical matters. I think certain practical matters, I feel like when it comes to career and stuff, they got that very well. Timothy's Mercury sextile Taylor's Pluto. They're interested in unique subjects together. So we do keep seeing that they do seem to be a lot more interested in those unusual, more taboo topics. Therapist-patient relationship. Get to the bottom of things quickly and they share a lot together. Timothy is fascinated by Taylor's death. I have to assume this would be more from a spirituality point of view. Timothy uplifts Taylor and they tell each other their deepest secrets. Both heal from past relationships together. This is coming up again, so I have to assume, as I previously said, for Taylor Harry and for Timothy Kylie, wherever they are in the timeline of these things, because it's kind of a mess. But definitely it could apply to even before that. I'm sure they've had relationships previous to that. They resolve deeper matters together and Taylor appreciates Timothy's humour. In terms of resolving deeper matters together, I have to assume this would be more from that humanitarian aspect again. So now it's time for Venus. We have Taylor's Venus in Virgo and Timothy's Venus in Aquarius. They enjoy meaningful conversations together. We keep seeing again, I'm a record player now. They want to talk about different things. This is interesting because potentially this could relate to their communication barrier when it comes to their intentions. But maybe, although they do have those humanitarian interests, maybe they do have a bit more different focuses on what things they'd like to focus on, I guess. Taylor values Timothy's presence, and Taylor needs to understand Timothy's need for independence. I'm pretty sure we did see that Timothy feels threatened and insignificant around Taylor. I have to assume that potentially he sees her as a threat to his independence. Taylor's Venus overlaid in Timothy's first house. Taylor is attracted to Timothy and Taylor enjoys being seen with Timothy. It's not bad, but it's not the best, considering that Taylor is the underdog when it comes to her acting career here. Timothy is flattered by Taylor and Timothy over time may not appreciate the shallow admiration. Okay. Taylor does not pay attention to the regular Timothy. Interesting. Because I would assume she would, considering they do seem to have that deeper connection. But I guess you could interpret this as ignoring certain parts of Timothy and not paying attention to that. Like, he wants to have like a successful career. I mean, he does, but, wants that to be his priority and everything. And also not paying attention to his intentions and what he sees out of this relationship. Timothy's Venus overlaid in Taylor's seventh house. Timothy sees Taylor as the perfect partner. Interesting that we both see that they see each other as quite a good companion. They are complementary, and Taylor feels comfortable around Timothy. Timothy satisfies Taylor's needs, and they both want to please each other. Longevity relies on Taylor's attraction to Timothy. Okay. Timothy's Venus trine Taylor's Mars. Taylor enjoys spending time with Timothy, and Timothy makes Taylor feel confident and desirable. The feeling of love never fades away. I kind of see this. The only deteriorating factor as such is how we saw that we just saw with Taylor's attraction to Timothy is what the longevity of this relationship would be based on. But physical attraction, love, tad different to each other. Besides that, we haven't seen anything to indicate that they lose this love, because they do seem to have like quite an affection for each other and admiration for each other. Nothing else besides what we just saw seems to indicate that it fades away. It's a fulfilling relationship. Timothy's Venus square Taylor's Jupiter. Timothy feels more confident and attractive around Taylor. It's a promising relationship. In a way, yes, because we have seen already like a couple, in terms of marriage, we have seen a couple things like that. And we did see that wealth can be accumulated through marriage. So Taylor may be irritated with Timothy's possessiveness. The only way I can see her being irritated with him being possessive, if he is being possessive but not necessarily giving her the whole commitment as such, which we have seen he doesn't seem to do. He seems to still want his independence and his career being his number one priority and everything. Can find a happy way to share their life. Again, there seems to be quite a lot of like marriage, long-term partner indicators here. So now it's time for Mars. We have Taylor's Mars in Gemini and Timothy's Mars in Capricorn. They tend to nitpick each other. Yikes. Taylor feels unfulfilled with Timothy. I have to assume this was because that he's not really giving her the commitment she seems to want. Timothy thinks Taylor is too much, and Timothy finds Taylor unsettling. Taylor's Mars overlaid in Timothy's 10th house. Taylor brings out Timothy's competitive side. There's a cold and detached chemistry. This seems to be more on Timothy's end more than anything, but more detached. I don't think he's cold to Taylor. Like, it does seem to be quite a nice, warm relationship. There just seems to be that detachment issue on Timothy's end. Neither know what they want from the other. This isn't great. And again, I have to assume this is on Timothy's end. Taylor seems to be quite consistent in terms of wanting a bit more from Timothy in this reading. Taylor seems uninterested in Timothy to outsiders. Taylor wants to impress Timothy, and Timothy tends to put up his walls with Taylor. Timothy both craves and fears Taylor's stability. Oh no. I mean, he doesn't seem to despise Taylor in terms of that. We did see he sees her as a bit more stable of that companion, a good companion. But I guess in terms of like, his career, he seems to want to prioritize that first and not necessarily have that serious relationship. There seems to be that conflict there because I believe we saw this again with Timothy and Kylie as well. He seems to desire that more domestic life as well. Relationship seems intense to outsiders. Timothy's Mars overlaid in Taylor's 6th house. Timothy energizes Taylor. I believe we see again, definitely that is that energizing element for both of these two. They exercise together and they are relaxed and calm around the other. Timothy is flustered around Taylor, and Taylor can see through Timothy. Timothy's Mars conjunct Taylor's Uranus. Taylor's independence is attractive to Timothy. I have to assume because that sort of allows him to be more into his career and more independent. It's unconventional, explosive sudden arguments that diffuse quickly, which makes sense because there doesn't seem to be like the perfect communication. I mean, in no relationship will there be. But there does seem to be conflict that they are quite honest with certain things, but not the most with other things. Timothy sees Taylor as a friend. Oh no, that's sad. Oh, Taylor is attracted to Timothy's decisiveness. Again, going back to, I believe we did see that she's attracted to his maturity. They may encourage each other to engage in reckless behaviour. Timothy's Mars conjunct Taylor's Neptune. Timothy may resent Taylor for not giving him enough space. Keep seeing. Timothy is fascinated by Taylor's ethereal mindset. He does seem to be quite attracted to Taylor intellectually. Both are humanitarians, we've been seeing this. Taylor sees Timothy as a knight in shining armour. I'm not surprised she would see him that way, like, this big movie star. Like, I'm not sure when they met, but Although I do have to assume, because we did see they share common social circles and common friends, so I assume Taylor would be a little bit more into the industry, potentially when Timothy was more established. Taylor is likely to become dependent on Timothy, we've been seeing. Timothy's Mars sextile Taylor's Pluto. Timothy's daring nature is attractive to Taylor and they are competitive. We have been seeing this a couple times already, and I have to assume just purely in terms of their career. There's power struggles. I have to assume their power struggles would be related to, there does seem to be something that Taylor has on Timothy that he doesn't have, so potentially that is where the power struggles come from. They have dramatic fights, we're seeing again now, so their communication definitely needs improving. I'm not sure, we have only seen towards the end that they have these dramatic fights, but we also did see they do have that tendency to avoid hurting each other, not speak to each other about problems. So I assume this would occur when they do harbour a lot of resentment about things. If they sweep things under the carpet and then it explodes, it makes sense. So that was the final aspect, bringing us to the end of the reading. If you are still watching, please share your thoughts below. I would be very curious to see what you guys have to say about this one. Definitely a very interesting one. I don't feel like it was an overall bad reading. There just seems to be that communication issue, and they need to be honest with each other about their intentions, because it does seem to have serious elements in this relationship, but no, I haven't heard too much about this, so I'll be very curious to see what you guys have to say. If you have made it this far, please consider subscribing for more. I post these readings weekly. And besides that, give this video a like, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!